I go to Bangkok at first time, Part 1. It was a warm and sunny morning in July 2024 when I finally decided to take the plunge and book a trip to Bangkok, Thailand. As a lifelong traveler, I had always been intrigued by the vibrant culture, delicious food, and stunning architecture of this bustling Southeast Asian metropolis, but for some reason, I had never managed to get there before. With eager anticipation, I began planning my itinerary, determined to make the most of my first visit to this captivating city. I knew I wanted to immerse myself in the local way of life, explore the famous landmarks, and savor the incredible culinary delights that Bangkok had to offer. After months of research and careful planning, the day of my departure finally arrived. As I stepped out of the airport and into the warm, humid air of Bangkok, I was immediately struck by the sheer energy and liveliness of the city. The streets were bustling with tuk-tuks, taxis, and pedestrians, and the air was filled with the tantalizing aromas of street food vendors. My first stop was my hotel, a cozy little guest house located in the heart of the Kayasan Road district, a popular backpacker hub known for its lively atmosphere and abundance of budget-friendly accommodations. As I checked in and dropped off my luggage, I couldn't wait to start exploring. Stepping out onto the bustling street, I was immediately overwhelmed by the sights, sounds, and smells that surrounded me. The sidewalks were lined with stalls selling everything from traditional Thai handicrafts to pirated DVDs and T-shirts, and the air was filled with the rhythmic chatter of street vendors and the occasional blast of a tuk-tuk horn. Determined to immerse myself in the local culture, I decided to forego the more touristy areas and instead explore the nearby Banglamphu neighborhood, a charming district known for its historic temples, lively markets, and vibrant street life. As I wandered the winding alleyways, I couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder and excitement at the sheer variety of sights and experiences that Bangkok had to offer. One of the first things that struck me was the incredible diversity of the city's population. Bangkok is home to people from all walks of life, from wealthy business people and government officials to hard-working laborers and street vendors. As I strolled through the streets, I was fascinated by the interplay of the different cultures and traditions that coexisted within the city. I soon stumbled upon a lively outdoor market, where vendors were selling everything from fresh produce and exotic fruits to handmade clothing and traditional Thai handicrafts. The air was thick with the scent of spices and the sound of haggling shopkeepers, and I found myself drawn in, eager to explore the seemingly endless array of stalls and shops. As I wandered through the market, I couldn't help but be amazed by the sheer variety of the goods on display. From vibrant silk scarves and intricate wood carvings to gleaming gold jewelry and fragrant spice mixes, the market seemed to offer a window into the rich cultural heritage of Thailand. Eager to learn more about the local cuisine, I decided to seek out a street food stall and try my hand at some authentic Thai dishes. I soon spotted a bustling stall serving up steaming bowls of noodle soup, and after a quick survey of the menu, I decided to give it a try. As I waited for my order, I watched in fascination as the vendor skillfully prepared the dish, deftly chopping and mixing the ingredients with practiced ease. When my bowl of hot, fragrant noodle soup finally arrived, I eagerly dug in, savoring the bold flavors of the broth, the tender meat, and the fresh herbs and vegetables. With each bite, I was transported to a world of new and exciting sensations, and I couldn't help but marvel at the incredible depth and complexity of Thai cuisine. It was a revelation, and I knew that I had barely scratched the surface of the culinary delights that Bangkok had to offer. As I continued to explore the city, I was struck by the sheer variety of sights and experiences that it had to offer. From the glittering spires of the Grand Palace and the serene gardens of the Temple of the Emerald Buddha to the lively street markets and bustling nightlife, Bangkok seemed to offer something for every traveler. One of the highlights of my first day in the city was a visit to the iconic Wat Pho, a sprawling temple complex that is home to the largest reclining Buddha statue in the world. As I wandered through the intricate, ornate buildings and admired the stunning gold-plated statues, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and reverence at the sheer scale and grandeur of the complex. But it wasn't just the iconic landmarks that captivated me, it was the everyday moments and interactions that made my first visit to Bangkok so memorable. Whether it was haggling with a persistent street vendor, navigating the chaos of the city's traffic, or simply people watching at a bustling street food stall, every moment seemed to offer a new and fascinating glimpse into the rich tapestry of Thai culture. As the sun began to set, I decided to head back to my guest house to freshen up before venturing out to explore the city's vibrant nightlife. I knew that my first day in Bangkok had only scratched the surface of all that this incredible city had to offer, and I couldn't wait to see what other adventures and discoveries awaited me in the days to come. Hashtag I go to Bangkok at first time, Part 2. As the sun began to set over the bustling streets of Bangkok, I headed back to my guest house to freshen up before venturing out to explore the city's vibrant nightlife. The air was warm and humid, and the sounds of the city seemed to take on a new energy as the day drew to a close. I decided to start my evening by visiting one of the city's famous night markets, specifically the Patpong Night Market, which was just a short walk from my guest house. As I approached the market, I was immediately struck by the sheer energy and activity that permeated the area. The streets were lined with stalls selling everything from counterfeit designer goods to traditional Thai handicrafts, and the air was filled with the sound of haggling shopkeepers and the inviting aromas of street food. I spent the next couple of hours wandering through the maze of stalls, haggling with vendors and marveling at the incredible array of merchandise on display. I couldn't resist the temptation to pick up a few souvenirs, including a beautifully embroidered silk scarf and an intricately carved wooden Buddha figurine. As I continued to explore the market, I couldn't help but be struck by the sheer energy and vibrancy of the place. The vendors were relentless in their pursuit of customers, shouting out their wares and vying for attention, while the shoppers eagerly sifted through the merchandise, bargaining and haggling with a practiced ease. But it wasn't just the shopping that captivated me, it was the sense of community and camaraderie that permeated the market. As I wandered through the stalls, I observed groups of friends and families gathered together, laughing and chatting over plates of steaming hot street food. The atmosphere was electric, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation as I immersed myself in the bustling scene. After a couple of hours at the night market, I decided to venture out and explore some of the city's other nightlife offerings. I had heard a lot about the famous Khao San Road, a bustling backpacker hub known for its lively bars, clubs, and street food stalls, and I was eager to check it out for myself. As I made my way towards Khao San Road, I couldn't help but be struck by the sheer variety of sights and sounds that surrounded me. The streets were alive with activity, with tuk-tuks and taxis weaving through the traffic, vendors selling an array of street food, and groups of revelers spilling out of the bars and clubs. When I finally arrived at Khao San Road, I was immediately overwhelmed by the energy and excitement of the place. The street was lined with bars, clubs, and street food stalls, all vying for the attention of the throngs of tourists and locals who had gathered there to enjoy the evening's festivities. I decided to start my evening by grabbing a bite to eat at one of the many street food stalls along the road. I opted for a steaming hot plate of pad thai, a classic Thai noodle dish that I had been eager to try. As I sat at a small plastic table, watching the world go by, I couldn't help but marvel at the incredible flavors of the dish. The tangy, sweet, and spicy notes danced across my tongue, and I couldn't help but savor every bite. After finishing my meal, I decided to explore some of the bars and clubs along Khao San Road. The atmosphere was electric, with pulsing music, flashing lights, and groups of revelers dancing and socializing. I wandered from one establishment to the next, taking in the sights and sounds and soaking up the incredible energy of the place. One of the highlights of my evening was stumbling upon a live music performance at a small, intimate bar tucked away down a side street. The band was playing a lively mix of traditional Thai music and contemporary covers, and the crowd was dancing and singing along enthusiastically. I found myself drawn in, tapping my feet and clapping along to the infectious beat. As the night wore on, I continued to explore the various bars and clubs along Khao San Road, marveling at the sheer variety of entertainment and nightlife on offer. From the raucous, high-energy clubs to the more laid-back, lounge-style bars, there was something to suit every taste and mood. Eventually, as the clock struck midnight, I decided to head back to my guest house, my mind still reeling from the incredible experiences of the day. I couldn't help but feel a sense of exhilaration and excitement at the prospect of what the rest of my time in Bangkok had in store. The next morning, I woke up feeling refreshed and eager to continue my exploration of the city. I decided to start the day by visiting the iconic Grand Palace, a sprawling complex that had been the official residence of the Thai royal family for centuries. As I approached the palace, I was immediately struck by the sheer grandeur and opulence of the architecture. The buildings were adorned with intricate carvings, gleaming gold spires, and vibrant mosaics, creating an awe-inspiring sight that left me feeling truly humbled. I spent the next couple of hours wandering through the various buildings and temples that made up the Grand Palace complex, marveling at the incredible attention to detail and the rich history that permeated every inch of the place. From the ornate throne hall to the serene gardens, every corner of the palace seemed to hold a new and fascinating discovery. One of the highlights of my visit was the opportunity to explore the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, a sacred site that houses a revered statue of the Buddha carved from a single piece of jade. As I entered the temple, I was struck by the incredible sense of stillness and serenity that pervaded the space, and I found myself drawn in by the intricate carvings and the soft, flickering light of the candles. As I continued my exploration of the Grand Palace, I couldn't help but be struck by the incredible diversity of the visitors who had gathered there. From groups of local school children on field trips to international tourists from all over the world, the palace seemed to attract people of all backgrounds and interests. I was particularly fascinated by the interactions between the visitors and the palace's guards and staff, who seemed to take great pride in sharing the history and significance of the various buildings and artifacts with the eager crowds. After several hours of exploring the Grand Palace, I decided to take a break and grab a bite to eat at one of the nearby street food stalls. As I savored the delicious, fragrant dishes that were on offer, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and appreciation for the incredible culinary traditions of Thailand. From the bold, spicy flavors of the curries to the delicate, balanced notes of the stir-fried noodle dishes, every bite seemed to offer a new and exciting taste sensation. I found myself quickly becoming addicted to the incredible array of flavors and textures that Thai cuisine had to offer. As I continued to explore the city over the next few days, I was constantly struck by the sheer variety and richness of the experiences that Bangkok had to offer. Whether I was wandering through the bustling streets of Chinatown, marveling at the stunning architecture of the Wat Arun Temple, or simply people watching at a local cafe, I felt a constant sense of wonder and excitement at the incredible diversity of the city. One of the highlights of my time in Bangkok was the opportunity to venture outside the city limits and explore some of the surrounding countryside. I took a day trip to the historic city of Ayutthaya, a former capital of the Kingdom of Siam that is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As I wandered through the ruins of the ancient temples and palaces, I was struck by the incredible sense of history and cultural significance that permeated the place. Another memorable experience was a visit to the famous floating markets of Dam Non Satuak, where I spent the morning exploring the intricate network of canals and waterways, marveling at the colorful array of fruits, vegetables, and handicrafts that were being sold from the boats that plied the waters. Throughout my time in Bangkok, I found myself constantly challenged and inspired by the incredible diversity and complexity of the city. From the bustling energy of the streets to the serene beauty of the temples, there always seemed to be something new and fascinating to discover. As my time in Bangkok drew to a close, I found myself reluctant to leave. I had fallen in love with the city's vibrant energy, its rich cultural heritage, and its incredible culinary traditions. I knew that I would be back, and that my next visit would be filled with new adventures and discoveries. As I boarded the plane and bid farewell to Bangkok, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude and wonder at the incredible experiences that I had been fortunate enough to have during my time in this incredible city. It had been a journey of discovery and exploration, and I couldn't wait to see what other wonders the world had in store for me.